will release interferon with a killing mechanism. They eat their way into the virus-affected cell, and the virus only has a DNA. And it needs the cell to use the energy and chemicals to be able to replicate. The interferon destroys the system of the invader. They also secrete gamma interferon molecules and macrophage to clean up foreign debris. Here comes the other. So there are 5 different kinds of white blood cell. On your blood test, you have lymphocytes. So that is T cell, B cell, that's the CD4, CD8. Our blood test doesn't show the CD8, CD4, and CD25. There's so many CD that you can take, but it just says lymphocytes. So you know if there's some balance in there. You would normally have 33% of your total white blood count is lymphocytes. But now the deal is, for example, monocytes are special agents. They go after cancer, they go after arthritis, any infection, inflammation, that's their job. And they normally get 4% of the total. If you look at the number you have in total white blood count, that should be between 4.5 and 7.5. So let's say when it says white blood count, that's 5. So now let's say 33% is lymphocytes, the brains of the immune system. 4% is monocytes, eosinophil and basophil works together. And they work on asthma, allergies, yeast, and parasites. So now, if I have asthma, I'm going to have high numbers. They're normally only 3 together. So basophil gets like 0.2, and eosinophil gets less than 3. So I can see, if you send blood tests here in the future, we can see right away there's allergy going on. There could be parasites or yeast because it works on all 3. So I just looked at somebody with asthma yesterday, and it's so clear. It was like I said, together they should be 3, and they were like 13, I think, together. So it's very clear right away. Their job is to munch up. So if this is your blood and there's waste in here, that will just munch. It's just full of enzymes, and even if this is a red blood cell and there is a bug in here, because if a red blood cell especially is weakened by not having B12, enough protein, enough iron, that is a home for bad guys. So now in my trying to get in there, neutrophil come by is the cutest thing. It is like a suction cup, and it will suck this little thing out, and then it will push this one. Okay, you're clean, go. So it's working all the time. 60% are neutrophil. Now, so long time ago, my son was 19 now, when he was 2 years old. We were in a lake in northern Sweden, and I saw some fuzzy white stuff around the lake. And my brother's kids were there, and my kids are learning to swim because we're in Florida, a lot of water, by 3 months old. And you know how you teach kids to swim the best? You throw them into the water. Of course, not me, but a teacher. So they're used to be more under the water, because the teaching is how do you get up? And the teacher would be fun, and they'd be like tap, 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 okay, and then you would get up on the side of the pool. So you learn how to not be afraid of being underwater. But then, unfortunately, you want to be underwater all the time and look at things. So he was, and my brother's kids were. Then we flew home the next day. And the next day I'm driving here, and he's sitting in the baby seat. And I'm like, what is that? And suddenly this thing appeared on his neck, a big, like a big lump. And so I did a 360, and there's a doctor we know in Fort Lauderdale that I knew could do a blood test like that. So now, if I'm fighting a bacteria, the numbers will be higher than 7.5. And if I'm fighting a bacteria, these guys will be much higher than 60. So, and that's what I feared that it was. And of course, any doctor that would look at that will roll their eyes and think the worst, because it looks like lymphoma, right? So his white blood count was like 14. You know it's a bug. His neutrophils, on your blood test they're called granulocytes. It's the same thing. GR, granulocyte, and neutrophil is the same thing. Most lab calls on this was 90. So I knew, I said, okay, I know what that is. He has a bug. And of course, doctor wanted to give me antibiotic. And, you know, I'm like, my kids don't get antibiotics. So I drove to Jenny Lee, it's acupuncture. She's retired now, but she was amazing acupuncturist. I said, Jenny, give me the strongest stuff you have. So she made a paste, and we kept putting that on, and she made tinctures. 2 weeks later, he was perfectly fine, all gone. I called my brother, and I said, did you have a problem? He said, oh my God, hell broke loose. All 3 of them has been on the strongest antibiotic. They've been so sick. They don't want to eat, they have stomach ache. I'm like, so that was the bug. And a few years ago, a kid died in New Hampshire. He was swimming in a lake, and somehow the bacteria went into the nose to the brain, and he died. And so now what I'm saying, if you're in a lake, I don't trust lakes anymore. The ocean is usually okay. But I tell you, keep your head above, you know. Don't let your kids go swimming in the lake.